Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee and Football, presented by Texas Road. I'm your host, Blake Monroe, where I'm joined every day by Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton. Tell us where you're checking in from this morning. Tell us what you're drinking. Get your questions in. We're going to talk about the bowl game. We got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about, actually, this morning, including departures, who's leaving, who's not. So let's just jump right into that, fellas, because we've had a lot of news since we were on about 24 hours ago.
I mean, it started breaking early, didn't it, Jerry? I mean, literally, it's right during the end of our show yesterday. The news broke that Cedric Baxter had entered the transfer portal. He will be looking for a new home. One-time starting running back for the University of Texas, but hampered by injuries the last 2 years. Really, even this year, Jerry, and you and we agree that it was a legacy injury from a year ago that he's still trying to get over and overcome, and he never quite got over the hump. He's entering the portal, along with two other guys that were announced yesterday. Melvin Hills, a back of the rotation defensive tackle out of Louisiana. He did not play much this year. And then quarterback Trey Owens, a very talented player, young man, but behind a good bit of players, some good talent in KJ Lacey, who overtook him in fall camp to become the number 3 quarterback behind Arch Manning and Matthew Caldwell. Caldwell now graduating, so KJ Lacey looks to move up to number 2. No clear path to the field for Trey Owens. This has been expected for him, along with 2 guys that had already been mentioned. Jarrett Gibson, the running back out of Florida, Gainesville, Florida, is in the portal is going into the portal, as well as Will Stone, the former kickoff man for the Longhorns. He announced he would be going in about 2 months ago now, whenever his redshirt eligibility was used up. But maybe the biggest news of all, and I'll let Jerry take it from here, Anthony Hill, the line, and it's Anthony Hill, not Hills. Yeah. By the way, on the graphic there, Blake.
I just noticed I did that right before you read that.
Yeah, but to that point, Jerry, Anthony Hill is a big loss, not unexpected, but just a baller and a little bit of one of those guys that has a heartbeat on the defense, and very, very valuable player to the Longhorns.
Yeah, I mean, he finished his Texas career with 250 tackles, 17 sacks, 3 interceptions, 8 forced fumbles. Tremendous. It was a huge recruiting win at the time because it was when Jimbo was losing control at A&M. Anthony Hill flips to Texas. That was a huge flip in recruiting before he ever played a game at the University of Texas. And once guys start playing, sometimes that's forgotten how important that was, especially in that DFW area where Texas was absolutely trying to make their mark after the coaching change because it had been so dismal under Tom Herman. That was a huge flip at the time from recruiting perspective because A&M going into that season had the momentum in recruiting, and the season, then the subsequent season, and then the flip of Anthony Hill, really that started the Texas momentum change in the state of Texas in recruiting, and then obviously went on to have a tremendous 3-year run at Texas. And look, when T didn't suit up for either last 2 home games, I think the writing was on the wall. Look, he was moving on. He was done at the University of Texas, but 250 tackles, 17 sacks, one of the best pass rushing linebackers in the country. We'd like to see him do it more this year, especially early. And I'm not sure Texas would have 3 losses, but that's another story. But 17 sacks, 8 forced fumbles, 3 interceptions. I think he's gonna make his living playing forward in the NFL. Not that he can't make some plays in coverage, but I don't think that's ever going to be his calling card. I think he's kind of a late potential first round guy. I think he may be that fringe guy. Maybe he works his way up, but there's some pretty good linebackers in this NFL draft as well. CJ Allen being one of those that is expected to go from Georgia. So, look, the whole workout process, the interview process, all that will determine a lot of this NFL draft, but he could be another first round pick out of Texas, but had a heck of a career at Texas, played at Denton Ryan, obviously in high school, a lot of Texas connections at Denton Ryan over the years, but a tremendous career at Texas, well-deserved. He's earned it, and I hope he goes on to be a first-round pick and gets into that first round.
Hey, Jerry, I'm going to do our ad read now to get that done, but I want our first conversation coming out of this to be something that was mentioned in the chat just now, and that is the importance of guys like Anthony Hill who come in as 5 stars to actually produce like 5 stars.
Yeah.
And what credibility that gives to a coaching staff, because that also is true, is it not? That he performed like he was rated.
Yeah.
And that gives the Colin Simmons of the world more latitude. Hey, I can go to Texas. So I want to talk about that next. First, I want to say thank you to our friend Rick Vavro and the guys over at Texas Road, your full service solution to major road projects with the full support of multiple crews performing utility, dirt work, concrete, and asphalt. Texas Road provides on-site concrete through volumetric trucks for smaller volumes. That means they're able to complete road building in a high-profile environment. They are who you want to call if you have a major road project in and around the state of Texas. Again, that's Rick Vavo and the guys at Texas Road. Also, Rick is a entrepreneur at heart. Make sure you check out his bar out in Jonestown called Lone Star Bar. That's Lone Star Bar. He says he serves all of his beer at 27 degrees. So it's as cold in Rick's bar at parts of it as it is in Abilene right now, or Comanche, wherever Blake's broadcasting from at this point. Hey, Jerry, in all seriousness, how important is it that when you get an Arch Manning, a 5-star preeminent recruit, or a Quinn Ewers, or a Xavier Worthy, or a Kelvin Banks is a great example, or a Colin Simmons, that they actually produce at a 5-star level in recruiting? What kind of credibility does that give a college sports program?
It's massive. It's massive, especially in football, because there's more of those guys, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the basketball guys that are ranked really high, like those guys are going to be pros, right? It's a given, but football's not necessarily given the same way basketball is. I mean, and you think about the 5 stars that Sark signed from 22 class on. Kelvin Banks obviously goes on to win awards and is a first rounder. DJ Campbell's a 3-year starter. He's going to be drafted. He's not going to be a first rounder, but he's going to be drafted, but had a good career at Texas. You look at 2023, nothing you can do about injuries. Those are going to pop up from time to time on these guys. But Arch Manning obviously going on to have the next year, having a great year and going in the first round is huge. Anthony Hill, if he becomes a first round, that'd be back-to-back years. You have a 5-star guy that goes in the first round. You get on to this 24 class of guys. Colin Simmons is going to be a top 10, if not top 5 pick. Ryan Wingo, I think he's got some work to do on consistency, but he's going to be a multi-year starter. And then you look at 25 guys, and they're 5 stars. And the reason I'm going through this list is who's tracking, right? Every guy's not going to hit, but you need a lot of these guys to actually go on and be really good in your program. I mean, Jonah Williams, Justice Terry, Cade Phillips. Lance Jackson was ranked 5-star by some people. He looks like he has an NFL future. Cade Phillips, if he does it right, will. Justice Terry, if he stays healthy and does it right, will. Jonah Williams, he may choose. You ultimately got to see what he chooses. But those guys, to have those guys be starters, multi-year starters, while they're ranked 5 stars. I mean, look, Adrian Peterson came out of high school as a 5-star. He would have gone to the NFL no matter where he went. So anybody that cries, oh, we developed Adrian Peterson. No, you didn't. All that guy had to do is stay upright. He was going to be in the NFL. But there is still some development that goes with these guys, especially in your interior positions, your offensive, defensive line guys. But I think that's great for Texas and Steve Sarkisian because one of the things from recruiting perspective that Nick Saban always had, the feather he always had, is he had the highest hit rate 5 stars that got drafted of anybody.
Right.
And he turned down a lot of 5 stars doing it as well. And that, as long as your hit rate remains high, look, you can't do anything if somebody's ranked high and they get injured. Hey, Nick Saban had those guys. Everybody's had those guys. So if somebody gets injured, nothing you can do about that. But your guys that stay healthy, those guys need to have a very high hit rate of being drafted, and a certain percentage of those guys need to be first-round picks, because the way that high school ratings are now, recruiting rankings are now, a lot of people look at 32 5-star prospects, meaning that guy should be a first-round pick. Whether that's fair or not, whether that's realistic or not. But it's always huge for programs that your most highly recruited guys play like that. They get drafted like that. They have a great time and career at the school they signed with. I think Texas is headed in the right direction at that for sure. Anthony Hill hopefully is the first round pick this year because we know Colin Simmons will be a top 5-10 pick next year, probably top 5. So that would give you 3 years. Arch has a chance to be, obviously. But I mean, I think Colin Simmons is the lay down top 5 guy. So that could be if Anthony Hill goes in the first round, 3 first round guys in a row, and then we'll see where Arch goes in his second year starting. But he should be.
Yeah, he could. I mean, he could be 1-1 next year. You just don't know. Hey, Jerry, this is the thing about this, and you know this as well as I do. It is different. It's a different story now than what Texas could tell in 2019, 2018, 2020, when everybody's like, oh, you get these 5 stars, but then they don't produce. Yeah. Now Texas is getting 5 stars and they're producing. And that's when the narrative changes.
Yeah.
That's what Jerry's describing. And what I'm trying to get across, the importance of not just your own team meeting expectations, but the Colin Simmons and Anthony Hills and Kelvin Banks meeting their own personal expectations, because recruiting and the portal, by the way, these guys are, while they play for a team and they want to play for a good team that's winning like Texas, they also want a path for themselves. And 5 years ago, Jerry, what was the path?
Yeah.
We didn't know. You could sign with Texas and you didn't necessarily know the path. Now, Steve Sarkisian, through 5 years, it is a clear path. It's one that's proven. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to get every recruit you go after. That's not what we're trying to say here. But it gives you ground to stand on and say, hey, this is how it's done. This is our model. If you want to live with it and abide by it, come on down. We want you.
Yeah.
And we'll put you in this machine, and you do your thing, we do our thing, and at the end of the day, you're a 5-star that plays like a 5-star and gets drafted like a 5-star. That's all I'm saying. I think it's important. I think it's really, really important. And I think Anthony Hill, more so even than Kelvin Banks. Well, Kelvin Banks was the first.
Worthy in 21. But I didn't mention him because that was kind of different recruitment.
Yeah, Kelvin Banks was the first. Kelvin Banks was proof of concept. Anthony Hill is okay. It's the concept is stamped and approved.
Yeah,
that's what I would say. Plus, he went from being a A&M commitment to a Texas.
That was the big one. That was a huge
and so you have that combination. So long story short, congratulations to Anthony Hill. I know. And I do think, Jerry, you said he had played his last game after the Arkansas. He was out for Arkansas and A&M. If Texas would have played in a college football playoff, I do believe he would have been back.
Yeah. All kids will play in the playoff.
So just to clarify that, Jerry wasn't saying – he was just saying bowl game, not going to do it. There are other guys that we got to talk about that have bowl game choices and NFL choices as well that we should get to, Jerry. But first, let's talk to our friend – who I think, like Blake, is freezing somewhere up north. Coach Shipley, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing good. Yeah, we had our frost on the pumpkin yesterday morning. It's not quite as cold as this morning as it was yesterday, but it was pretty outside with the ice crystals all over the grass.
There you go. Hey, Coach, we're sitting here talking about the reality of 5-stars performing like 5-stars. You were at Texas at a time where some of those guys came in and did, and some came in and didn't. In your opinion, and I don't want you to point out individual players. Please don't do that. I don't want you to feel like you have to, is there something to what we're talking about right now where it's a self-fulfilling prophecy? Hey, 5-stars go there and they get drafted and they do what they're supposed to do and they win games. Is there something to that in your opinion?
Yeah, I think there is, and I think it's just a better job of obviously evaluating talent. I really feel like there was a time that some of the I don't want to. Well, I just felt like there was a time that we had some coaches that maybe didn't put in the time evaluating recruits, or they were just chasing stars. They were chasing rankings instead of going in and really doing evaluation and see how this kid fits, not only into the offense and defense, but into the culture and, all the things that they bring. And so, as a result, you got these guys that are, recruiters of the year, on different, but so many of those guys didn't pan out, and I just think that's, I don't twinge when I see us sign a 3-star guy because they've done their homework. They know how he's going to fit or how they predict he'll fit into a system, and they've evaluated him. And sometimes, obviously, you can get some real steals at 3-star. I think Jordan was a 3-star. I think Colt was a 3-star, if I'm not mistaken. But it's just a better job in my opinion, of evaluating these athletes and then developing them. That was also, if you'll remember, back in the times that we're referring to many times, it was a soft culture in a lot of people's eyes, and so I credit Torrey Becton for that. Obviously it all starts with Sark, but just getting guys in that, yes, you have the ability. Obviously you have the measurables to be given a 5-star rating, but do you have the work ethic and do you have the intrinsic motivation that says, I'm going to be the best me I can be, and I'm going to let these guys mold me and trust them to take me as high as I can go, instead of, man, I'm at the University of Texas. We got it made. I'm going to go down here and have these girls make me some protein shakes and hang out. You know what I'm saying? It's just a great atmosphere and culture that they've created, I think, that where guys hold each other accountable and push each other to be the best they can be. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why you're seeing more of our high-star guys be developed and go to the league and be who we thought they were. Is that saying what I'm trying to say?
No, yeah, absolutely, Coach. And I was going to add to that. I think the toughest thing with NIL now, I think there's 3 categories for athletes. Do you live it? Do you love it? And do you like it? Which category do you fall into?
Yeah.
And NIL makes it much more difficult on coaching staffs nowadays from that perspective, because you could have loved the game, you could have lived it, and then your big NIL paycheck hits and you go back to love it.
Yeah.
And I think the toughest thing for college coaches now is you evaluate a kid on tape, but then when you get that kid and that family on campus, you got to figure out his why. Is the money going to change his why? If the money changes his why, I don't care where he's ranked. So Kelvin Banks, for instance, his why was very obvious, right? His mom was in and out of the hospital. He was playing to give his family. Yes, he loved the game. Loved the game. I went to Summer Creek, lifetime Longhorn. Kenny Harrison was the coach. The guy was never late for practice, weight room workouts, none of it. But his why was his mama. You gotta do a great job of finding the whys for these kids now, because the NIL can change you take you from live it to love it, or love it to like it if you get paid enough and you're like, hey, I'm good now. So I think that's what's tough for coaching staffs nowadays.
Yeah, it is. And I think our staff has done such a great job of really going in and finding out things like that, letting our current players kind of recruit these guys, and then come back and say, coach, I don't know if this guy's a fit. I don't know if I want him in our locker room, whatever. Because I think that sometimes we'll see that somebody that we were recruiting commit somewhere else. But the reality is, in a nice way, our coaching staff felt like they weren't a fit, and so they pulled off of them. And nobody's going to say that. A kid's not going to say Texas pulled off of me because they didn't think I was a fit for their culture. They're going to say, man, I'm going to, I've committed to so-and-so because I think they're the best fit for me. They gave me the most love or whatever, and sometimes, the program gets a bad rap for that, where the reality was they were protecting their culture and protecting the program. And so every guy that signs somewhere else that we recruit doesn't always mean that that's not the way we wanted it, because I think they've done a great job of bringing in guys that are culture fits and weeding out the ones that aren't. But I love that, Jerry, and I love the the relation to Kelvin Banks and what his why is. And man, that in that life though, isn't that about us all? You guys get up early every freaking morning and grind, when you're on the road all the time. I mean, it's just, there's some people that's in their DNA just to produce and just to be the best they can be in their business, which I think you guys are. And then others are just okay with just, where do I pick up my paycheck, and it's just a sad life to live, actually, even as a football player who has potential to have generational wealth change if they just had their why right.
Yeah, because a lot of these kids, Bobby, Blake, Coach Ship, a lot of these kids' why in my years in the business, when they're in high school, their why is to get them and their families to a better situation in life. Well, here's the hard thing now. Now that can happen in college. It doesn't have to happen in the NFL. Now, if you lose sight of, if you don't really truly live the game, if it was your way to give your mom or your family or yourself a better life, you can do that in 4 years of college ball now, not even play in the NFL or NBA. That's why I think this is so hard for college staffs now. The NFL, somebody mentioned this, and I always said this about the NFL. Do you live it, love it, or like it when you get to the NFL? Because you have life-changing money at that point. So do you and I've always used Jadeveon Clowney as that. He was still one of the most talented 3 or 4 players I've ever seen. When I was ESPN Under Armour in the Under Armour game, went to see him in Rock Hill in high school. Still one of the most 3 or 4 talented players I've ever seen, gifted players I've ever seen. But he never really lived the game. Else he would have been a gold jacket player.
Yeah, he's not going to have a gold jacket.
No, that's the deal. He should have had one.
Coach, as it relates to that, just listening to this, one of the things that's changing about college sports as we move into this segment is that money that Jerry's talking about, it's coming earlier and it's coming at a time when you are doing so many. Your body is still developing, your game is still developing, and so if money is the be all end all and you get it day one, you show up. What's your impetus to improve over time?
That's what we're talking about. It's that why. It doesn't matter what's around. It doesn't matter how much. It's that I am driven. And people can fool you. Yeah, they can fool you on that. And the difficult thing now, as Bobby, you and Jerry have pointed out on the show, that there's a movement of guys that are fast tracking their high school career to come out a year early because they want the money. Yeah. Now, I mean, good night. You can't miss on those guys, because I remember back when, people started offering, juniors, when all you did was just recruit seniors, and then they started offering sophomores, and then you started offering freshmen, and all that stuff. And I've just coached so many kids in high school that developed from their junior year to their senior year. And those are the guys that people like Iowa State and Baylor, whoever were stealing those guys, because everybody was full on their scholarships because they felt like they had to get in the race, because recruits were saying, well, they've been with me since I was 16 or 15 or whatever, And so a lot of guys got steals because of late developing players. So I think it's a mess. it's like we've opened up Pandora's box, and who knows if bowl games are even going to be a thing anymore. I mean, it's just, yeah. And now you've got kids wanting to graduate after 3 years of high school so they can start getting paid. And they're not really mature enough. I know I matured an awful lot between my junior year in high school and my senior year in high school. But it just makes me scared about, what the future of this is going to be. And you can't miss on those guys.
Hey, Coach, we got a screenshot to show you. Blake, bring this up because I want to say this now. Jordan Shipley was a 4-star, baby.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know.
That's great that you didn't know. That's awesome, by the way.
I didn't know.
Now Colt was a 3-star. To your point.
Okay.
That was Bobby Burton, head of recruiting rankings at that point.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, I don't know any. We're not pro football fans. I used to watch the Cowboys. When Jordan was drafted, we were out at a friend's ranch and he came in and said, "Dad, I got drafted." And Jordan wasn't a big fan of the NFL either. And I go, "Great, son. Who drafted you?" And he said, "The Cincinnati Bengals. I just got off the phone with the head coach." And I said, "What's his name?" And he said, "I have no idea." Hey, I got to tell you all a great Christmas story. It's not great. It's not great because it was classy, but it's really a funny story. Jordan sold a house in Southwest Austin in 2015. Okay, when he was doing the Bucks of Tecumseh, was co-hosting Bucks of Tecumseh hunting show. He needed it, so he went down to Bernie. He and his wife Sonny bought a place. So 2015, they sold their house in Southwest Austin, and then they moved back into the neighborhood, two doors down and across the street from their old house, and remodeled it and everything. And they were there for several years. Anyway, the lady that bought their house in 2015 recently posted on Facebook that she's been getting a box full of prime filet mignons for 10 years addressed to Jordan Shipley, bragging about it, how she gets a Christmas card from Mac Brown every year. She's a realtor in Austin. No names, no streets, none of that stuff.
Yeah.
But she's online bragging about, and somebody said, "Those are Jordan Shipley steaks." And she said, "No, they're my steaks, courtesy of, 44 Farms or whatever." And anyway, she's just bragging about it online for 10 years. And the funny thing is, they lived 2 houses down from him for like 5 or 6 years and see each other walking around this circle in the neighborhood they live in. The road is a kind of a circle in this neighborhood, and say hi and everything. And don't ever say, "Oh, by the way, I've been eating your steaks for the last 5 years and I'm going to eat them for 5 more years." And you know what I mean? Is that not a crazy? That's
not a Chris. That's a Scrooge story, Coach.
Wait, Coach Shipley. So that leads down to the next question: how many guys does Mac Brown send Christmas steaks to every year?
No. Now Mac just sends a Christmas card.
Oh,
no. This is a business associate and friend of Jordan who sends him the steaks every year. Needless to say, Jordan's going to contact him and get him to change it. But just it just goes to show you, people, man, for 10 years been getting box full of prime filet mignons and walking right by each other on the street, when they move back in the neighborhood, and just kind of, that's the kind of person you want to buy a house from. I guarantee you. Honesty.
Oh boy, the Christmas spirit is alive and well. Not. Hey, Coach, one quick question before we let you go, and it's about the Texas Longhorns as they now are going through a couple of different processes. One, the team as a whole is getting ready for Michigan, but it's clear behind the scenes that Steve Sarkisian, Brandon Harris, the personnel folks at Texas are talking to existing players, and those existing players are deciding whether or not to go in the portal stay with the team, etc. I was wondering if you could give us any kind of inkling of what that might feel like or look like. Like, how do you simultaneously get ready for a bowl game against a big-time school? I mean, we mentioned it yesterday. There are no two better helmets in college football than Texas. I mean, it is a clash. How do you do that while also managing your roster? I mean, I don't think you ever did anything like this in college because it wasn't around, but
no,
isn't it just kind of crazy that you have to do all of that at once?
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I'm glad that they have enlarged the staff to be able, because that is a 365 day a year job, you know. And honestly, I don't know how you do it. I mean, you know, it's like now back before they capped it, yeah, it was kind of easy, you know. The job was just calling, you know, alumni, Texas X's, and get more money, you know. But now it's there's so much strategy involved. I don't know for sure how they do it, but it's becoming a science almost. How do you manage your current roster? How do you keep here? So you go in the portal now, and you're going to sign maybe try to sign two running backs maybe in the portal now, with CJ Baxter moving on. You know, here's another strategy. What if you say, and you know, if Trey Wisner is thinking about going to the draft, you know, why don't you say, hey, Trey, we're going to up you $1 million to stay one more season.
Woo!
You know, instead of investing in an unknown who doesn't know the system, why don't you take a little extra money and incentivize him to come back another year and leave your mark on the University of Texas? Now, I have no idea what, but you know what I'm saying? There's there's strategies and things that going in, and as we've said, a big part of it is retaining your roster and what's it going to cost you to retain your current roster. Because you remember, everybody, you know, we were talking about a year ago, we were a little bit surprised when people started, no, less than a year ago, people started talking about Texas, you know, being ranked number one, and Arch was the Heisman favorite. And we were all saying, oh, no. It's the next year. The next year is going to be our year. You know, 26 season is going to be the one that, you know, well, how do you keep all that together? And we've done a pretty good job up to this point. I wish I knew. I would love to be a bug on the wall, a fly on the wall, not a bug. That'd probably be a cockroach. Yeah. Be a fly on the wall in those meetings with Brandon Harris and those guys just brainstorming on, you know, because you have to look at, okay, well, what if this guy leaves? What if this guy leaves? What, you know, how do you plug in those holes? So just roster retention to me is incredibly difficult, because the ones that are there, you know, Parker Livingston, I don't know what the guy gets NIL, but at some point he's going to say, hey, you know, show me the money. I'm a pretty dang reliable receiver. You know, I've done everything you asked me, you know, or whoever else that might be. Anyway, that's a great question, but I don't know the answer. I wish I could go behind the scenes and see it, but it must be an amazing thing. And when we have to realize this, they're not going to get it all right. It's impossible to get it all right. They've done an incredible job up to this point, in my mind, but there's going to be, you know, some wow. But I think Brandon, and in fact, for Brandon to go from when I knew Brandon, when Tom Herman hired him, and he didn't even play for Tom Herman. Tom Herman recruited him. He wound up going to LSU, but just, you know, he came to Texas to be a coach, you know, and then for him to transfer into the role that he's done and the way that he's done it has been pretty remarkable.
All right, Coach. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, bud. Get those fillets sent to Jordan for us.
Yeah.
All righty, man. You be good, Coach. Take care of yourself. Right. Merry Christmas. Hope you guys are having fun. We'll see you again next week.
Thanks. Y'all have a good show.
Everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Be good. Bob Shipley, dad to two former Longhorns, former Longhorn assistant in the personnel department as well. Longtime high school coach. Always appreciate his contributions here. Hey, as we were talking about this discussion and the portal, Longhorns got another one in, and that is Aaron Butler, wide receiver out of California, is going into the portal. We did not mention this earlier. Butler yesterday or early this morning, put out on TikTok a series of plays of his from his practice availability. So we all kind of knew this was coming. I don't know if he's actually officially announced it yet or what have you, but Aaron Butler expected to go into the portal. He's another wide receiver. Did not see much time this year, Jerry, because of why? What was the take on why Aaron Butler didn't see more action as a Longhorn?
I think inconsistent hands, one. A guy that was, look, he was a rare guy that Sark took without him ever visiting. So he was committed to Dion as a DB at one point in time, then USC. Talented kid. It doesn't mean he can't go on and be a really good player somewhere else. And I want to say that again. Darian Gillette, good player at Mississippi State for them this year. Hell, Dre Bledsoe had his moments, right? So for Mississippi State. So, I mean, these guys, there's going to be a lot of these guys that go on and be really good players if they pick the right school. Aaron Butler had a tough time. Look, he had a tough time breaking through, and it was going to be a tough time for him breaking through to get onto the field. I think the biggest thing, if he's going to continue to play wide receiver, will be consistency with his hands. That's what ultimately will either get him on the field or will keep him from being on the field as much as he wants to. And I encourage all these guys to, look, I know in the day and age of NIL, but pick the right school, man. If you couldn't play, go make sure you can get on the field somewhere. That's the biggest thing for me. Unless you've been an injured guy and somebody still wants to pay you a decent NIL, that's a different deal if you've had injuries, right? This is maybe your last couple of shots at having football earning potential. But if you don't have an injury history, go pick the right school so you can get on the field.
There are going to be other names likely announced into the portal today, tomorrow, the rest of this week. Texas having meetings with some of its players this week, especially I think some of the core ones actually, those discussions are going to happen even later in the week. But I want to say this before we get into a discussion about the futures of Trey Wise or DeAndre Moore, Jelani McDonald, Hero Canoe. Let's break for a minute for our advertisers. I'll start with our friends over at Kirby Lane. Kirby Lane All Day Cafe has been an Austin institution since 1980 with the local vibe and late night pancakes you know and love. Have you ever tried their banana pancakes? My goodness. Now dinner is where they're raising the bar. Bold, chef-driven entrees like steak frites and Mediterranean chicken, their famous queso and shareable plates, plus a full line of gluten-free options, and the bar stocked with craft cocktails that deliver. Kirby Lane is the Austin original for a night out with real flavor. Check the full dinner lineup tonight at KirbyLaneCafe.com. That's KirbyLaneCafe.com. Smother me in Kirby queso when I die.
All right, Jerry, why don't you tell us about Ridge Wallet this morning?
I can do that. The brick that hurts the days of having that brick in your back pocket that hurts you after long drives, make you sit sideways like this. Those days are over. The Ridge, not only is Ridge the best wallet on the market, but now it's the 2.0. They've been perfecting this wallet for 12 years. It's 10% lighter. Every gram matters. In the Ridge Wallet 2.0, they found the perfect balance. They made it more modular with improved cash straps, money clips, and air tag attachments. That's very important in case it gets ripped off from you. There's over 50 colors and styles to choose from. You can even get a wallet that features every NFL, MLB, or college team. Perfect for holiday gifting, especially since Ridge is having their biggest sale of the year right now. Plus, all Ridge wallets have industry-leading built-for-life warranty. So even if your wallet is lost or stolen, they've got you covered. Does it give you peace of mind knowing that all Ridge wallets have RFID blocking technology? It should. It keeps you safe from digital pickpocketers. Boy, pickpocketers have a tougher job nowadays, don't they? Over 100,000 five-star reviews, proof that Ridge is a gift that people love to see. Losing your wallet is the absolute worst, but with the Ridge Tracker card, you'll always know exactly where it is before panic mode kicks in. Perfect peace of mind for holiday travel and gifting. Give the gifts that stay out of the junk drawer and they find their way into morning routines, travels, and adventures for a limited time. Ridge is having their huge holiday sale. Head to ridge.com to get up to 47% off your order. This is by far the biggest discount they've given all year. That's ridge.com for up to 47% off your order during their biggest sale of the year. After you purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them. Set the show that Coach Shipley tells great stories on, obviously.
Thank you, Jerry. And I'm going to tell everyone this morning about Prize Picks because we make decisions daily. But on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid, and it's simple to play. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you can cash in, win up to 2,000 times your money. It's also the best way to get in on the sports action in more than 40 states, including California, Florida, Georgia, and right here in the Lone Star State. Now, they're still releasing their college football bowl and college football playoff projections, so we're waiting on those before we make some picks there. But don't forget, they have everything: college football, college basketball. You can do NBA, NFL. They literally have everything, even esports, if that's your thing. So get in on the action. Join millions of other users. Sign up today. You can make your picks in less than 60 seconds. Just download the Prize Picks app. Use code ONTexas to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, that's code ONTexas to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. And that's Prize Picks, where it's good to be right.
Hey, I need to bring something up. Somebody said no more joy mode reads. Joy mode's always around, guys. Now, you know who needs joy mode? Kentucky basketball, highest NIL in college basketball by far, 5-4. Lost to 35 at home against Gonzaga.
Lost by 35
to Gonzaga. They're 5-4 with a $21.5 million NIL basketball roster. 12 players, $21.5 million, 5-4. Mark Pope's one of their own, but he may not be one of their own for very much longer.
Hey, going back to the discussion of what Bob Shipley was talking about with who's coming back and who's going pro, and the NIL related to that, and the repercussions of what if a Trey Wisner goes pro, then how many running backs do you need in the portal?
Yeah.
With Jarrett Gibson already gone and Cedric Baxter gone as well. It'll be interesting to see how that all transpires, but we'll be tracking it. I want to mention a couple other guys that we think are, some of them are in this more like Anthony Hill, in that they're not debating portal like Cedric Baxter, because Cedric clearly didn't have a good enough season to go pro or whatever. They're debating whether it's the NFL or another college team. Or the NFL or the University of Texas, excuse me. So Jelani McDonald's like that, right? Okay. Trey Wisner like that. DeAndre Moore, I'm hearing very much like that as well. One of the thoughts on DeAndre Moore is that it is a relatively weak overall receiver class,
which is true, and you don't want to be
in the NFL, which could push his value up from a pick perspective. Did he have a good enough year in y'all's opinion to go pro though? Did he strike you as, wow, he's a surefire 4th or 5th rounder? I'm not sure he did. Is that, and that may not be his fault, by the way. I mean, the offensive line didn't give Arch time. Arch was erratic at times. So it's not just on one player, but that's interesting. I think there are a couple others that walked on senior day that we need to discuss too. Hero Canoe.
Yeah.
What's he going to, he has the potential to return. Connor Robertson has the potential to return. Now Canoe could be a draft guy or come back. Robertson, theoretically could go in the portal. He has another year left, or he could stay at the University of Texas. It'll be interesting. There's a number of guys that are in that category.
Jack injuries.
Yep. Jack injuries.
Trevor Gooseby.
Yeah. I thought Gooseby, though, even though Matt Miller went out there and said he's the 15th, I just don't, I think that's going to be an outlier numbers wise, unless there's a dearth of offensive tackle prospects. As good as I think Gooseby can be long-term, I think a year of seasoning and he could be a top 10 guy is my issue. He's got that kind of size and length.
Yeah. If he gets a first round grade, it's hard to stay though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Somebody asked about Reed at A&M.
He announced yesterday he's staying.
Well, he doesn't have a pro option. That guy's 6 foot, 78 pounds, playing quarterback and not an NFL thrower. I'm glad he announced he's coming back. I don't know where he was going. It wasn't the NFL. Sure as hell was not the NFL.
First pick in the CFL, though.
No, there's that.
I mean, it would be. He's perfect for the CFL, right?
I mean, the guy's 180 pounds, dripping wet, and there's no chance.
We have a couple of super chats that we need to get to. Let's take this one here from Real Longhorn Jose. And he says, I'm curious, does Texas give players who enter the transfer portal practice footage if they don't have any game film?
I'm not sure Texas would have wanted a player putting out his practice clips on social media, honestly.
Yeah, that's what Aaron Butler did.
Yeah.
And so I don't know that they have there's probably a rule that you can't share that on social media, period, by the way.
Yeah.
Once they're gone, how do you stop a kid from doing that?
Yeah.
Other than a cease and desist? And
not really. Yeah.
I think Jerry's that's a technical no-no, but I don't know what you do if the guy's going in the portal.
Right. Yeah. If you do it during the season, you're going in the portal. And it's not your choice.
Hey, to be honest, this is good for Marcus Myers. Will Stone's been doing it for a while, not just Butler. That's true. Although I will say this, difference, Marcus. The only person in those videos for Will Stone is Will Stone, right? Whereas Aaron Butler's doing it with multiple other players on the footage. But Marcus is not. I mean, that's a nuance, right? Yeah. That's a nitpick.
And then some other news that we haven't discussed this morning. A report came out late last night that Aaron Joe is leaving for the general manager position at North Texas. So Juan Garza has a super chat regarding that. He wants to know what y'all think about that. And also, do you think Texas needs a GM like Florida is doing? What are your thoughts?
Well, Florida didn't get Lane Kiffin because they said they were going to hire a GM outside of Lane Kiffin. So you got to decide, do you want the coach or do you want your system? Florida chose its system.
Yeah.
Correct, Jerry? You heard the same thing as me.
Yeah.
So Florida wanted to know why they stopped getting comments back from Lane Kiffin and he focused on LSU. Well, LSU said, yeah, bring your GM with you. Do it your way, coach. Whereas Florida said, well, we got another way we want to do it. So again, there are multiple ways to skin a cat.
Yeah.
Always have been, always will be. Florida's doing it one way. As far as Aaron Joe, he comes over he came over to Texas from Georgia Tech. And now he's going with Neil Brown, who, for those unaware, Neil Brown was head coach at West Virginia, then came to Texas and really focused a lot on short yardage offense for the Longhorns this year. He just accepted the North Texas head coaching job earlier this week or over the weekend. I can't remember which. And it's common for head coaches that, like Jeff Choate, when he went to Nevada, okay, he was the former linebackers coach under Sark. When he went to Nevada, he took 2 or 3 younger assistants with him. That's how people really get starting in their careers, going from maybe a smaller job with less responsibility to a bigger job, or to a smaller school like North Texas, but with a bigger responsibility. And that's how they get going. And so Aaron Joe, congratulations to him, as well as to Neil Brown and whomever he takes with him up there.
And then we have one from Texas Blake here, going to recruiting a little bit. He says, was looking at the 26 recruiting class and noticed it's about 8 or so national top 100 guys. And then there seems to be a gap. Is that by design? Not as many 100 through 300 ranked guys like in the past.
Absolutely by design, as revenue share takes hold. Can't have a bucket full or a class full of 5 stars anymore and overpay. Unless you're USC, and, in my opinion, openly flaunting NCAA rules. Just openly flaunting it. Okay, they have no sense of parameters even there right now. They're just saying, "Come and get us."
Yeah.
And so there's going to be a meeting of minds on that at some point. Texas is not going to do that. Georgia's not going to do that. Ohio State's not doing that. It's just USC's deciding to do that. So yes, it's basically going, there are going to be 8 to 10 guys in high school that are really worth going after hard. The Derek Coopers of the world, right, Jerry? Guys that you can play right away. Tyler Atkinson, you think he can play right away. And then there's going to be another group that is different. And so I think that's what we're seeing in Texas. Like, it is by design. It's not just you and your imagination at all.
No, and I will add, I agree with Bobby, but I do also want to add Texas lost Vodney Cleveland, who was in that category, and missed out on 2 or 3 other guys they were trying to get. So I think ideally they'd like to have a couple of more of those guys in that 100 to 150 range, and they just didn't get them in one flip.
So 10 to 11, 10 to 12 as opposed to 8 to 10.
Yeah.
I think that's where we're headed. I do. I think it makes sense if you look at the numbers from a GM perspective.
Yeah.
And then we have a super chat from Rocky P. Thank you, Rocky. Appreciate you as always. He says, saw the true freshman All-American list that came out yesterday. Grayson Littleton was host. There are also a lot of Texas targets that made that list.
Did you see this list, Jerry, even?
Yeah, I did.
Blake, do you have that to pull up for us, please?
Yeah, give me just a second here.
I mean, Grayson Littleton had 40 tackles, 2 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles. So that's
5 passes defended.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote on Twitter last night when I saw this that they categorically made a mistake, whether they realize it or not. And that's fine. I mean, national guys, having been one myself, Jerry, you've been one yourself. You're dealing with imperfect information.
Yeah.
If you're covering a single team, you have a chance to know 98 to 99% of what's going on over there. If you're a national guy, the best you could do on most teams is 70%. So, for example, Sean Lee, okay? Sean Lee did not have as many interceptions, passes, defended, or forced fumbles as Grayson Littleton. Somebody must have talked, my opinion, somebody that was doing this list talked to a pit coach and said, hey, this guy is good. Cortland Guillory had more penalties than passes defended.
Yeah.
Very handsy.
That's the one that got me. That's the one that got me. I mean, like, clearly Littleton was a better freshman than Cortland Guillory. Just because you start doesn't mean anything. It's what do you do when you start. And yes, he's on a college football playoff team. I get it. But Grayson Littleton was better than Cortland Guillory this year.
Yeah. Interesting. I don't know that Texas had another person that you would put in the category of even being there. I mean, look, Lance Jackson, maybe, Jerry.
Maybe.
He's the only other one I think that played enough snaps to even merit consideration.
Yeah.
You agree with that?
Yeah. That was it. That was it for me. Look, I mean, you see John Mills, obviously.
Former Longhorn commit.
Yeah. All his family was athletes at Washington, but for the Kyle Flood hate, he was one of the guys that offered him really early and got him committed. Michael Fasusi, obviously people are like, why didn't Fasusi go to Texas? He was never going to Texas. He wanted to go somewhere. He wanted to start as a left tackle as a true freshman. He made the correct decision. That was not happening at Texas for him. Dontrell Glover, high 3-star out of the Atlanta area that started all season for Georgia. We had John Mills a 4-star, but I think the industry in him is a 3-star guy. But that guy was very good on junior and senior tape. But just some things there. Andrew Marsh, a guy that's from Katy Taylor High School, or maybe not Katy. DeCorian Moore, obviously major knee injury during the season that cut his freshman year short, but he was a star as expected. Malachi Toney on this list. I know we're talking about how Grayson Littleton got hosed, but I want to say one other thing. Malachi Toney was a reclass. What he just did is extremely rare. to get out of high school a year early to reclass to 25 from 26 because he was the top receiver for Dia Bell at American Heritage and a track star. To reclass up and get out and then go be arguably the best, probably the best freshman, maybe the quarterback from Cal, the best freshman in college football this year, that is very, very rare that will happen. Extremely rare. You're muted, Blake. Streak's over.
I
knew I was muted. I knew I was muted.
Go back to that real quick. I have one more thing I want to mention. Okay. I don't know how I can't say the quarterback's last name and do it justice. The Cal quarterback.
Yeah.
All right. So I think that you and I, Jerry, agree with this. Great player, potentially,
yes.
right? Like potential 1-1 draft pick kind of player. How do you square that with the BYU quarterback that led his team to an 11-2 record? Like, that's what I'm just asking. I'm not saying it's right.
Yeah.
But I'm asking, how do you square that? Because one obviously is a better pro prospect, and the other may have had a better college season.
Yeah. I guess
what I'm saying? That's the eternal question about these All-American teams, by the way.
My initial answer would have been BYU'd be in the playoffs with the Cal quarterback.
I agree. Well, maybe not. He doesn't run as well. He doesn't run as well as the other kid.
Yeah, but this guy's
I mean, they may not have the receivers. I don't know.
Yeah,
but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
He ups their ceiling for sure.
100%.
Yeah. Good stuff, Jerry.
All right, Bobby. Something else that's good stuff is Omaha Steaks, and I'm hoping you can tell everybody about them this morning.
You know I can. Those filet mignons getting delivered to you every week or every year, like Bob Shipley was talking about. Omaha Steaks offers unrivaled quality and variety, and every bite is backed by their 100% guarantee. The cyber sale is the perfect time to shop for unforgettable gifts, exclusive limited time deals, and more. Plus, orders placed by 5 o'clock shipped the same day. When you give Omaha Steaks, you're sending more than a gift. You're sending an experience. From the moment it arrives to the moment they enjoy it, they'll be thinking of you. Omaha Steaks has been America's original butcher since 1917, a family-owned company with more than 100 years of expertise in the meat industry. They carry mouth-watering burgers, chicken, pork chops, seafood. Save big now on unforgettable gifts with Omaha Steaks. They've got a cyber sale going on. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide and an extra 20% off select favorites during their cyber sale. For an extra $35 off, also use promo code ONTEXAS at checkout. Promo code ONTEXAS at checkout. I used it the other day. The code works. That's omahasteaks.com. Promo code ONTEXAS at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details. It is really easy giving a great gift if you use omahasteaks.com.
I want to bring up something real quick. Dean Nizer, thanks for the question. Does Jermaine Bishop remind you of Bussy at A&M? I think he is. Jermaine Bishop reminds me of Peter Warrick. We'll see if he gets that good. But no, I think Terry Bussy was more of a rankings inflation than actual prospect to me. I think he's good. I think Jermaine Bishop's on a totally different level. The fact that anybody has Jermaine Bishop ranked anywhere lower than where Terry Bussy was coming out of high school, and I know classes are different, is criminal. It's insane, and you should turn in your card. Pure and simple. They're not even close.
All right, I need to tell folks about Mint Mobile as well, guys. Here's the deal. With college football season almost now over, you can focus on saving yourself some money. And don't get burned by your old wireless bill while you're planning trips and 3-day weekends. Your wireless bill should be the last thing holding you back. That's why you can make the switch to Mint Mobile. It's the wireless plan I sent my son off to college with. With Mint Mobile, you can get the coverage and speed you're used to, but for way less money. And for a limited time, Mint Mobile is offering 3 months of unlimited premium wireless service for $15 a month. While your friends are sweating over data overages and surprise charges, you'll be chilling literally and financially this year. Skip breaking a sweat and breaking the bank. Get this new customer offer and your 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/OnTexas. That's mintmobile.com/OnTexas. Upfront payment of $45 is required. That's equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
Thank you, Bobby. And I'm going to tell everyone about one of our other sponsors this morning. It's one that Bobby has. He loves it. Aura Frames. They're a great product. And if you're anything like me, every year there's that one person that you can just never shop for. This year, I'm going to skip that chaos. Aura Frames is my last-minute lifesaver. I'm actually giving one to our in-laws because it's the one gift that feels personal. You can preload it with photos before it even ships, add a little message. It shows up ready to go. The best part is you can keep adding photos and videos from your phone all year long. It's literally unlimited. You just connect the frame with the Aura app and then connect it to Wi-Fi, and you're all set. It comes in a premium gift box. It looks classy. It's a great, great gift. And for a limited time, you can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames. They were named #1 by Wirecutter. Just use promo code ONTexas at checkout. That's Aura Frames, AURA frames.com, promo code ONTexas. This deal is exclusive to listeners and frames sell out fast, so order yours now to get it in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning OTF at checkout.
Hey, I got a question for the chat and for Bobby and Blake. Because somebody brought something up that North Texas plays Indiana next season. You know what my question is? To the quarterback at North Texas, who everybody just assumes, well, Eric Morris got hired at Oklahoma State, he'll just follow him there, which very may well happen. Bobby, chat, Blake, if you were the quarterback, Mestamaker, at North Texas, would you just automatically go to Oklahoma State, or would you have your agent call Indiana and say, I'm interested first?
I wouldn't automatically go to Oklahoma State.
I'm with you.
I'd go to Indiana.
Now, I'm not saying where I would go.
Yeah.
Because, look, it's one thing to say go to Indiana. You don't know what else they have there. I mean, what Mendoza's little brother is the backup.
Yeah.
And so I think I would also say this, at some level, quarterbacks are different than any other position because quarterbacks truly can command outsized prices. They can. I mean, and so it's going to depend on what your rev share looks like. I mean, they're the ones that have real money. And to be fair too, Indiana's going to have their choice. Do they want that guy who looked pretty good, by the way, to me, or do they want Sam Levitt?
Yeah.
Or do they want somebody else? And I don't know the answer, but we'll see. Jerry, something happened as we go through this today. I want to talk a little bit more and kind of rehash what's gone on so far with the transfer portal and with the NFL draft. We had broke news. If you're just now joining us later in the program, Aaron Butler is putting his name in the transfer portal. The sophomore from Calabasas, California, has entered his name or is entering his name into the portal, along with CJ Baxter, who did it yesterday, as well as Melvin Hills and Trey Owens. They joined Jarrett Gibson and Will Stone. Also, if you missed it yesterday, big news, Anthony Hill, the linebacker, all conference, all whatever you want to call him, all stud, is entering the NFL draft. To no surprise, we expect more news and notes like this in the next, on the hour, essentially, because Texas is meeting with current players as well. So this is going to be ongoing and something we need to be aware of going forward. But this week seems like it's going to be a big portal week, Jerry. That's going to be the news. I'm waiting for bowl opt-outs. We haven't heard bowl opt-outs. Like I was told that, and this is just a source. It's not, I can't report it as fact, but I was told Ethan Burke might be opting out of the bowl game, which leads me to wonder, is DJ Campbell opting out or other people? Who else is opting out? If you're not returning, are you opting out? Now, Ethan Burke was a little banged up during the season too, but so was DJ Campbell, right? Had a right foot injury the whole year.
Yep.
So let's see what that means to the roster itself as we go forward.
We got another super chat that we need to get to this morning, and this one is from Spank Boogie. Thank you, Spank. Says, great convo about the why with Coach, but that's why I don't think you should give these kids a guaranteed 2-year contract. It could be dangerous.
Well, I think there needs to be 2-year contracts, and here's why. Because it takes control. It takes control away from the agents. Because right now, you can sign an NIL deal with this team, go to another one for more money next year with no consequence, by the way. 0 consequence. That's my issue. You can just go from team to team to team to team from 4 or 5 years with no consequence. That's not right. Period. That's not right. You should have it. Even if you do 1 year, there needs to be heavy buyouts. And I don't care if it's called collusion or not. It needs to happen. Because right now, the agents control the game. And the agents should not control the game. Period. It should not happen.
Just realize when you start doing multi-year contracts, okay, and someone gets injured, you probably still owe that money. Texas could have the choice of doing multi-year contracts. They choose not to. They would rather say, "Hey, we'll pay you if you're worth it if you prove it to us the second year." Other teams take a different tact, Jerry.
Yeah.
So it all depends who you are and what you want to do. I think the big piece for me, and we can talk about this, there needs to be more unanimity and structure to college football portal / personnel decisions as a whole, whether that's multi-year contracts being allowed, the length of them, the idea of them. Yesterday, and let's talk about this now. Yesterday was a little bit of a landmark situation. There's a company out there that's a 501(c), not a 3C, but a different group called athletes.org. Okay. And what they proposed yesterday was their version of collective bargaining for college athletes. In that version, they make sure to not make college athletes employees. That has been the single largest, or one of the single largest issues that universities don't want. They don't want athletes being categorized as employees of the university. Their proposal is modeled more after SAG-AFTRA, which is the studio guild, where you're basically contract labor for a movie that you participate in. So those guys aren't employees of the movie; they're contracted employee and contract labor, not employees. So this proposal is tremendous, in my opinion, because it gets past the employment law while also giving athletes a real voice at the table to collectively bargain what they're willing to accept and what they're not, what they want from a health maybe it's a health plan after college. Maybe it's more money or a greater revenue share or any number of things. It can eliminate guys that have played professionally in other sports or in the G League or something, or it can eliminate those guys. Jerry's mentioned that problem multiple times. Okay. That is reality. Also, they used an example of exactly what a collective bargaining chip can mean to an organization. Now, listen to this. The college football game that just came out on EA this last year is the highest selling video game of all time for sports. Okay. It grossed like $1.1 billion. The athletes, the college athletes, EA paid them 1% in royalties. Okay. The NFL on the very same game, if they would have sold $1.1 billion, you know what the NFL's rate of that would have been instead of 1%? It would have been 10%. So college athletes only got 1%. The NFL guys get 10%. That's what collective bargaining can do for you, and why I think this is a model ultimately that is sustainable and achievable. And I think that if they can get in a room and with the powers that be, get in a room and figure it all out, I think this is the model that might work and might be a path forward. We're getting note now that on 3 is reporting that Santana Wilson is entering the portal again. Not a surprise for us, Jerry Hamilton. He's been mired in the defensive backfield depth chart. Did not see action this year almost at all. Came out of the state of Arizona. His dad, Al Wilson, former executive in the NFL, but Santana Wilson now adding to Aaron Butler, who earlier announced his entering the portal as well for the Longhorns.
Yeah. So look, there's going to be more guys, and you're starting to get into some positions. I don't think he'll be the last defensive back, by the way. So you're going to start to get into some positional depth issues that will show up, and that will lead down the path of how many guys they'll take in the portal at certain positions, for sure.
Yep.
All right, let's see here. We got a super chat from Slick Rick. Thank you, Slick. He says, what's the issue with coaches not recognizing their freshman talent? Terry is a budding star and didn't play much. Atkinson better start, or I'm questioning our position coaching. He's too talented to ride the bench.
Well, I think Atkinson will play a lot. I think in the case of Justice Terry, I think that's who you're referring to. Justice Terry came in to Texas at 258 pounds. So he was not nearly big enough to be an interior player, which he's going to be a 5/3. They had to get his weight up over I think he was 276 was his highest this year. I think he was around 272, 274 during most of the season, held that weight. But there's still development. I mean, these D linemen, he played, the competition that he played against isn't going to keep him from being an NFL draft pick one day, but he did have a lot of development to do as an interior player, to play interior in the SEC. And he really started coming on the last 5 weeks, and you saw him play more, but not Atwater instant player. He needed to gain weight, and he's got to get over 290, and he will, but he's got to get over 290 to be that consistent disruptive force that I think he can be. I think that guy could have 5 or 6 sacks next year as a 5/3 if he can get up in the low 290s.
Just going to say this, Slick Rick, long-time poster here and stuff. I think you're asking for too much. I mean, I've been around this sport for a long, long time. You just don't throw true freshmen to the wolves and say, go get it. You can end up with a situation where it stunts their growth. They develop bad habits because they're trying to get stuff done. And so I'll use Cade Phillips as an example. As the season went on, he played more and more and more and more. That doesn't mean he wasn't ready to do something early, but he wasn't necessarily ready to do everything early. Grayson Littleton's a different story. He was clearly ready and was ready from the get-go. Okay. But I don't lose faith on how they've used their freshmen. I think they've done a tremendous job of integrating them into the team. If they're ready to go, they put them out there. They put Lance Jackson out there from the very start. Well, Lance Jackson, to Jerry's point, was much more physically sized. Now, not necessarily looking like Mr. Hulk to play defensive end than Justice Terry is. Justice Terry is an interesting player. He's a tweener between a 3 technique and a 5 technique. That's like Alfred Collins was. And remember how you couldn't play him every down. He gets swallowed in the run game inside and then not necessarily be fast enough on the outside. So my point being here, I disagree with you about questioning coaches with young players. I mean, I think they've done a really, really good job overall. Really, really good job historically. If you're ready to go, you play. If not, they figure out how it is. I thought they did a good job. I mentioned Cade Phillips. Could they have played Cade Phillips a couple games early? Maybe. But by the end of the year, he's really, really good player.
It's interesting how, and I always talk about this, interesting how fans and recruits see it two totally different ways. So I was at Manville High yesterday, and we'll have the 10, 11-minute video interview with Carnell Greedy James, the 27 defensive back commitment. And we'll have that up. I think Matt may put that out today or tomorrow that I did with him yesterday. But I asked him one of the things that impressed him about Texas is how many freshmen played. And that it's always interesting from recruit perspective versus fan perspective how they see it so differently. And because all that kid saw was Jonah Williams, even if he was on the field for 10 snaps, he was out there. Grayson Littleton is a starter. He noticed Cade Phillips, who he works out with and has for 2 years. He may not have been a starter, but he was out there. So it's always interesting from a recruiting perspective. I think Texas is actually helping themselves. But as you get more talented, less true freshmen are going to play sizable reps.
Who played more reps? Who played more true freshmen in the Texas A&M game? I mean, it's also relatively speaking. That's what I was trying to get at too with Slick Rick. Just so you know, often look so internally at Texas. You don't look at other players. I mean, what did they have? One guy, Bethel Roman, play for them? Any significant amount of snaps?
Yeah,
Did
and then he rolled his ankle. Yeah.
Who?
And then he rolled his ankle.
Yeah, but was there any other freshmen that played for them? My point is, so Texas had 7 or 8 true freshmen playing. So it's relative too. Justice Terry played. I mean, look, I think the issue with Justice Terry is he started getting it late in the game.
Yeah.
Late in the season.
And he's got to be 290 pounds.
Yeah, and when that light bulb turns on, it's gonna go pretty good.
Yeah. When he gets to 290 and he can be an every down player, he's going to be a monster. But he does have to he's got to gain another 15, 20 pounds. A&M, the only other guy was Marco Jones, the edge kid that is really good. They had
Texas had him in on a visit too, right?
Yep. Then they had some guys play some special teams, but Texas had more of an impact from their freshman class.
But that's what I'm getting at, right? I mean, you take that and you say, well, Elko plays his freshman. Well, no. Texas plays more freshmen. And so it's not just a Texas thing. Nobody goes out there and plays 25 freshmen, because if they do, they end up being 5 and 7. So what's the goal here? To play freshmen or win football games? It's a little bit of both, right? That's the smart way. And I think Sark does a pretty good job of marrying the two.
All right, Bobby, before we get to our last question or two, I'm going to let you tell everyone about our sponsor today, Texas Road.
Yeah, really a long-term sponsor of ours, and we really appreciate Rick Vavro and his team at Texas Road, Austin Underground, as well as Lone Star Bar. Our friend Rick Vavro and the guys at Texas Road are your full-service solution for major road projects with the full support of multiple crews performing utility, dirt work, concrete, and asphalt. Texas Road provides on-site concrete through volumetric trucks for much smaller volumes. They're able to complete high road building in a very high-profile environment. If you need help in finding road issues, make sure you reach out to texasroad.com. That's texas-road.com.
Thank you, Bobby. And guys, we got time.
Can I one thing real quick? Was Antoine had a really good point. Thought on Brent Pry being retained as DC after being fired from Va Tech. Really good defensive coordinator, was actually James Franklin's DC at Penn State before he got the Va Tech job. I think that's really good for Virginia Tech. That's a high-level DC that already knows the majority of their players and roster that has been with James Franklin before. That's actually really Another really good move for Vatek.
That's a odd because he was just the head coach.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you've been demoted, and he accepts it.
Yep.
Okay.
Kind of different. King Me says, did Texas missing the college football playoff benefit them getting a jump start in the portal?
I want to say this. I think it benefits them knowing who is leaving.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily give them a benefit of who they're going to go after in the portal, because I think they had already kind of decided some of those things or are in the process of deciding those sorts of things. But now they know certain guys are definitely going into the portal of their own, and they have definite areas to address. Before it was mostly conjecture, although a 98% conjecture internally. Now they know for sure.
And we will close with this one from Greg. Greg says, seems to be a great need to find at least 2 good offensive linemen, experienced running back, or maybe 2 if Wisner leaves. Get everything set around Arch, looking for a major run next year.
I think it's more than 2. Just going to say that because I think we're getting ready to see some attrition on the offensive line, like we're seeing other places. So there'll be some guys going to the portal. I think it's going to be more on the offensive line. I do agree with the running back with experience. I'm not sure about 2. It'll depend on who the one is, maybe. But I do also agree with get everything set around Arch. If DeAndre Moore opts to go pro, for example, do you need another elite wide receiver to match with this group? Depends who it is. Hey, but before we go, Blake, do you mind re-putting up that graphic? Because a lot of people come in late, and I just want them to see our graphic. And I don't know if you've added Santana Wilson.
No, I have not made that change yet.
Okay, but we'll put him on here. Add DB Santana Wilson to transfer portal. That means Aaron Butler, sophomore out of California, and Santana Wilson, defensive back out of Arizona, a sophomore, have all entered the portal now, alongside CJ Baxter, Jarrett Gibson, Melvin Hills, Trey Owens, and Will Stone. Anthony Hill has opted to go pro. We will have more on this because I think it's going to be a developing story throughout the day. Next 2 days, actually.
Hey, Blake, we've had so much going on in this show. Bring up the Texas-Michigan line. Has it changed at all? Is there much movement? 5.5.
Opened at 4.5. It is now at 5.5. Like you said, the over/under at 45.5, and it actually opened at 46.5. Yeah. And then ESPN Analytics give the Longhorns a 57.7% chance to win the game.
I'd agree with that. But you got to see who's playing.
Who's playing, man?
Yeah, it depends on who's playing.
Yeah.
And it looks like, guys, we got a super chat in here at the last second, and I don't want to miss it. Slick Rick here says the defense has minimal blitzing, but yet we are recruiting missiles like Hill and Atkinson. Does our personnel not match our scheme?
Well, I mean, this year they clearly made a mistake not having Anthony Hill blitz more. Clearly, that's clearly a mistake. And having Colin Simmons drop in coverage as much as they did, clearly a mistake. They minimized two of the best pass rushers in the country, even though Texas still had high sack numbers. And I'll say it, and it may not be popular. That was clearly a mistake. Clearly a mistake. So I think Tyler Atkins is going to blitz a lot, but he's a 3. He can blitz. Tyler Atkins can play in coverage. He can play in space. He's not coming in as just a downhill football player. Now, he's tremendous at it. His closing speed is ridiculous. But I see him differently as a player than Anthony Hill.
Let me ask you a question, Jerry. When you say Texas made a mistake, what game did Texas lose because of the defense? Georgia?
Florida.
Okay.
DJ Lagway was under duress the week before at Baton Rouge, had 5 interceptions.
Yeah, I think Florida.
He pitch and catch, and that's the game that kept you out of the playoff.
Yeah, I think Florida, you're correct. Just trying to think it through my brain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As you really go back through it. I think a more aggressive approach at Florida may have been worthwhile. Yeah.
I mean, Anthony Hill was at 8.5 a game, 8.5 sacks last year at linebacker.
Yeah.
He could have been 10 this year. I mean, you could have really amped up the pressure on people. Really amped up the pressure on people. I mean, him and Colin Simmons, when they're going at the quarterback at the same time and a lot, Texas is a different team defensively.
Marcus Myers had this to say. You agree with this? Florida was an anomaly to me with Dallas Wilson coming back and no Manny Muhammad. That makes you more reticent to rush the passer like that.
DJ Lagway was hurt and could barely move was my problem.
Yeah, I think you're right. Ultimately, I'm trying to think like really where did it play out?
Yeah.
And I think Florida, it played out there, but there were extenuating circumstances. Would be in the college football playoff with a win over Florida, though, for sure.
I mean,
you know what? I want to say this. Maybe that loss needed to happen too, because they came back the next week focused against OU.
Yeah. So just for reference, we got time to talk about it. I think Summerall has an interesting decision to make with DJ Lagway at Florida. The DJ Lagway has more interceptions than touchdowns in 2 years of college football. And in SEC and against Power Fours, it's significant. But pressuring him, people who have pressured him successfully have looked really good.
And we have a super chat that came in right when we closed the show yesterday. I nearly forgot it. Speaking of quarterbacks, this was yesterday from the Jet 42. Thank you. And again, our apologies. How deep are we at quarterback next year? And is Diabell healthy?
Diabell's back working out now. He's working out. He posts a lot of videos of him working out with quarterback instructor down there in South Florida. So he's moving really well, throwing the ball well from what I can see. But look, Diabell's not coming. He's coming to Texas to redshirt and develop. That was all part of the plan for him. So his expectations, I think, are right on track for his development. But he is back moving now. He's working out with his QB coach. That wasn't a serious injury he had this year, but it was one where I think it was smart to let him get healed up. I think that was smart to let him get healed up, honestly.
Hey, Jerry, does Texas take an experienced QB to fill out and have 4 QBs on the roster instead of 3? Because right now they'd only have, with Trey Owens out and Matthew Caldwell gone, Arch, KJ Lacey, Diabell, do you need a 4th that's a scholarship guy, emergency situation dude? Or do you let KJ Lacey just come? I think you probably take a guy that is a backup.
Yeah, exactly. I think KJ Lacey is clearly going to be the number 2, and I think a lot of us think he's going to be a really good player. So I could see that. I could see as a 3rd-team guy for sure.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode of Coffee and Football presented by Texas Road. We want to thank them along with Ridge Wallet, Aura, Kirby Lane, Mint Mobile, Omaha Steaks, and Prize Picks, all for sponsoring today's show. Of course, thank you all for tuning in as well. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Ring the bell so you're notified anytime that we go live, post content, whatever it may be. Bobby, what you got for everyone later today?
Jerry's doing the proverbial recruiting breakdown. And it's going to be like a portal breakdown.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to evolve to. Although he did go see Greedy James yesterday, so I'm sure he's going to have some more contact on that. That's the 2027 commitment out of Manville for the University of Texas. Give you guys a little bit more detail on him and who he is. Then we also have a couple of other episodes coming today, including the live stream tonight at 7:00. Make sure you guys check in and visit us for that. Get your questions answered. I will say this, there will be more news coming out today. That's the expectation. So don't be surprised by it. While there are a lot of guys going in the portal, okay, most of them are career backups or like Santana Wilson, like Aaron Butler. The ones that we really need to be watching for, decisions by, and I'm not saying they're happening today, Jelani McDonald, Trey Wisner, DeAndre Moore, Trevor Gooseby, Hero Canoe, Connor Robertson,
Jack injuries. Yep.
So just be aware of that. That's what we're monitoring today, I guess, as well as any other portal news that comes about. Jerry, one other thing for you guys. If you're interested in a hat or a mug from On Texas Football, Jerry's sporting his. I've got mine here on as well. We got to get Blake. Blake doesn't need a hat because he's got such good hair. But anyways, long story short, if you do need a hat because you don't have hair, make sure you check out shop.ontexasfootball.com. That is shop.ontexasfootball.com. We also have a mug that we love here. Also, we have a coffee called Coffee and Football. It is cowboy coffee at its best, brought to you by our friends over at Medici Roasting. Check out that. And I also want to say, as you're thinking about Christmas shopping, one more plug for our friends over at Duck Camp, duckcamp.com. Use code ONTexas25 for 25% off. They've got great Christmas gifts as well.
It's a good hat when you can wear it sideways. I've always said that. You can go to Venice Beach, pick up your skateboard, wear your hat sideways.
Don't you have to have the bill flipped up too to make it look cool?
Well, I'm not going to ruin it.
Jerry. Hey, Jerry, by the way, kudos to your significant other. Your background looks much better than the witch background that you had for Halloween.
Well, she was going to make me pay her $50 to burn the witch live on Coffee and Football show. So, Bobby, if you want to pay for that, we can burn it live on air. $50.
Maybe after Texas beats Michigan, just rid the season.
I can guarantee if somebody throws a $50 super chat to have it burned live on Coffee and Football, I will do that next week.
Somebody needs to pony up.
Oh, geez. I'll pony up. I'm here.
Well, we will be back same time, same place tomorrow. Hope you all have an outstanding day today. So for Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton, I'm Blake Monroe, and we'll see you then.